Bank manager refuses to serve black veteran. Elon Musk witnesses it, and what he does will shock you. A homeless veteran walked into the bank, his eyes filled with quiet hope. All he wanted was to open a small account to safeguard his modest government assistance, but instead of receiving help, he was treated like he didn't exist. Dismissed with harsh words and contempt. In the corner of the waiting area sat Elon Musk, unnoticed by anyone. He wasn't just another customer. He was the bank's largest shareholder. What happened next would change everything, not just for the veteran, but for the entire banking system. It was a busy Monday morning at a bustling branch in downtown Chicago. The sounds of typing, printers, worrying, and soft conversations created a familiar backdrop. In a quiet corner of the waiting area, a man in a simple button-up shirt sat silently observing. Nobody gave him a second glance. But this was Elon Musk himself. Musk was there for a contract signing or a board meeting. He was there to see firsthand how the bank operated, how the staff treated customers when they thought no one was watching. This wasn't his first time using such an approach. Musk firmly believed that meaningful change could only happen when you truly understood the core of an issue. The automatic glass doors slid open. A black man entered, wearing a faded coat and shoes that had clearly seen better days. He clutched a small paper bag tightly, his expression a mixture of nervousness and hope. He walked toward the service counter, bowing his head respectfully as he greeted the teller. Elon noticed him the moment he walked through the door. The man's posture carried the weight of exhaustion, but his steps revealed a quiet patience, someone who had faced life's challenges head-on. From his seat in the waiting area, Elon listened closely to the conversation at the counter. It didn't take long for him to piece things together. The man's name was James, a veteran who had served in Afghanistan, now homeless. James had just received a small government assistance check. He was here to open a bank account, hoping to safely store the $100 he had, his only possession of value. Elon leaned back in his chair, his eyes contemplative. He didn't say a word, but a question hung heavy in his mind. How would this bank treat someone like James? The answer came faster than he expected, and it wasn't what he had hoped for. James approached the teller, a faint glimmer of hope lighting up his tired eyes. "I'd like to open an account," he said slowly, his voice clear but cautious. Placing his small paper bag on the counter, he revealed the $100 inside, his entire financial lifeline. The teller, a middle-aged woman named Marilyn, gave James a sharp once over, her expression shifting to one of irritation and disdain. It was as if his very presence had disrupted the environment she was accustomed to. "Do you have $500? She asked, her tone icy and detached. "If not, we can't open an account for you." James hesitated for a moment, his voice trembling with desperation. "I don't have $500, but I really need an account to keep this money safe. I can't carry it with me." Marilyn cut him off with a dry, dismissive laugh. "Do you think this is charity? If you don't have the means, I suggest you go somewhere else." Everything seemed to freeze. A few nearby customers started whispering to each other. Some shook their heads, others exchanged annoyed glances, as if James's attempt to seek help was an unwelcome intrusion. James stood motionless, his gaze unfocused, struggling to steady himself. He gripped the counter tightly, his dignity holding him back from lashing out. From the corner of the waiting area, Elon Musk observed the entire scene. His sharp eyes grew colder, the tension in his jaw betraying his growing frustration. He looked ready to stand up and intervene, but before he could, something unexpected happened. The gentle voice broke the silence from the other side of the counter. "Sir, let me help you." It was Sophia, the young and relatively new employee at the bank. Although it wasn't her job to handle this case, she stepped forward, her kind eyes radiating empathy. "You don't need $500, she said, with quiet determination. "I'll help you open a small account. It'll only take moments." Sophia began typing on her computer, ignoring the warning glance from Marilyn. Marilyn balked, her tone as sharp as a blade. "You're not authorized to make this decision. It's against bank policy." Sophia paused for a moment, her hands hovering over the keyboard. But instead of backing down, down, she turned to Marilyn, her voice steady yet respectful. If a policy forces a customer to leave without receiving any help, then maybe it's the policy that needs to be reconsidered. A heavy silence fell over the counter. A few customers exchanged glances, surprised by Sophia's boldness, but Marilyn was unmoved. Her brow furrowed, her lips tightened into a thin line, and she reached for her phone to call the branch manager from his seat in the waiting area. Elon leaned back slightly, his eyes fixed on Sophia. He knew he had just witnessed something remarkable, a rare act of courage and compassion. But what followed made his frustration grow even deeper. Linda, the branch manager, emerged from her office at the back of the bank, dressed in a sharp business suit. Her cold demeanor radiated authority. As she approached, Marilyn quickly recounted the incident, her voice laced with complaint. Sophia decided to handle this customer without following protocol. I warned her, but she refused to listen. Linda turned to James, her scrutinizing gaze sweeping over him with a noticeable lack of warmth. You're the one trying to open an account, she asked, her tone laced with the implication that he was causing trouble. James nodded, working to keep his composure. I just need a safe place to keep my assistant's money, Mom. I don't want to carry it around with me. Linda let out a faint, derisive chuckle, her eyes flicking to Sophia. Sophia, you're new here, aren't you? It seems you might need a refresher on our policies. We cannot open accounts with less than $500. That's the rule, and rules are meant to be followed. Sophia met Linda's gaze, her voice calm but charged with quiet determination. I understand the rules, Mom, but I also believe the bank exists to help people, especially those who truly need it. If he can't keep his money safe, isn't that a bigger risk? Linda remained unmoved. Don't act as if you know more than the system we've built here. If you can't do your job properly, maybe you're not suited for this position. The atmosphere grew stifling. James lowered his head as if wishing he could disappear to avoid causing further trouble. Sophia turned to him, her voice soft yet steady. Don't worry, sir. I'm sorry you've had to go through this. Please just wait a moment. Linda, unwilling to prolong the argument, spoke in a cold, clipped tone. Sophia, stop what you're doing immediately and step away from your station. After your shift, you'll meet with me to discuss your irresponsible behavior. Sophia remained silent, but her gaze didn't waver. She turned back to James, offering him a gentle smile of reassurance. I'm sorry this happened to you, sir, but I hope you know not everyone in this bank feels the same way. You deserve to be helped, not because of how much money you have, but because you're a person. James nodded, slightly unable to find the words, his eyes glistening with tears. From his seat in the waiting area, Elon Musk sat in silence, taking it all in. Every word, every gesture from Sophia and Linda etched itself into his mind as James walked out of the bank, his shoulders heavy with disappointment. Musk made up his mind. Tomorrow everything would change, not just for James, but for everyone who stepped through the doors of this bank. The next morning, the atmosphere at the bank branch seemed unchanged. Employees were busy with their usual tasks, and Linda moved through the office with her familiar air of authority. But when a sleek luxury car pulled up outside and Elon Musk through the doors, the entire branch seemed to freeze for a moment. This time Elon wasn't a silent observer in the corner. He strode purposefully through the glass doors, his sharp eyes scanning the room. His confident steps exuded quiet power, and as he stopped in the center of the lobby, every employee seemed to hold their breath. Linda quickly noticed him and hurried over, a polished smile spreading across her face. Mr. Musk, she said, her voice suddenly sweet. What an honor to have you visit our branches. There anything I can assist you with today? Elon didn't answer immediately. Instead, he locked eyes with Linda, his voice calm but weighted with authority. You know, he began. I was here yesterday, sitting right there. He gestured toward the chair in the corner of the waiting area, and I saw everything. Linda stiffened, the smile faltering. For just a moment she quickly regained her composure, though her voice wavered slightly. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Elon narrowed his eyes, his voice low. but unmistakably firm. I mean, how you and your staff treated a man who only wanted to open an account, a veteran, someone who served this country. Do you really believe the cold, dismissive attitude you showed yesterday reflects what this bank stands for? Linda stammered, her composure cracking. I was just following policy. So policy, Elon repeated, his lips pressing into a tight line. Policies meant to serve people, not turn us into heartless machines. If this bank's rules force those who need help the most to leave humiliated, then those rules are wrong. Linda lowered her head, unable to muster a response. The room was utterly silent, with every employee frozen in place, not daring to move or breathe. Too loudly, Elon turned his gaze to Sophia, who stood nearby, her expression still struck from the moment he walked in. His stern features softened as he smiled and stepped toward her, extending a hand. Sophia, I want to thank you. What you did yesterday wasn't just an act of kindness. It was an act of courage. You did the right thing, even though you knew it might get you into trouble. Sophia's hand trembled as she shook her voice breaking slightly with emotion. Thank you, sir. I just believe that everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Elon nodded. You're absolutely right. And this bank needs more people like you. Elon turned back to Linda and delivered his decision with calm finality. You're fired, effective immediately. You haven't just failed as a leader, you've compromised the values this bank needs to stand for. Linda stood frozen, speechless, as the weight of his words sank in. Musk then addressed the entire staff, his voice clear and resolute. Starting today, everything changes. United Hope Bank will no longer be a place that serves only the wealthy or rigidly follows heartless policies. It will become a place where anyone, no matter their circumstances, can find support and respect. And Sophia will lead our customer care team with this new vision. A wave of applause broke out among the staff. Sophia bowed her head, overcome with emotion, as tears welled up in her eyes. Elon smiled briefly, but his expression quickly turned serious again. There's one more thing, he said, his tone carrying the weight of a promise. We're going to reach out to the man from yesterday. This time he'll get the support he deserves. Later that day, James received a call from an unfamiliar number. When he answered, the warm and gentle voice on the other end surprised him. Mr. James, this is Sophia from United Hope Bank, she said. I want to personally apologize for what you experienced here yesterday. We'd like to invite you back to help you set up your account. There's also someone very special who wants to meet with you. James hesitated. He wasn't sure if he wanted to face those stares again, but the sincerity in Sophia's voice convinced him to take a chance. The next day, James returned to the bank branch. This time, his steps were lighter, though a trace of hesitation lingered in his posture. Waiting for him at the entrance was Sophia, who greeted him warmly and led him to a private meeting room. Inside, Elon Musk was already seated waiting. Hello, James, Musk said as he stood up, extending his hand in a formal yet sincere gesture. I'm Elon Musk. I was here the other day and I saw everything. James froze, startled. He stammered, who are you? I'm the largest shareholder of this bank, Musk replied, his gaze steady and reflective. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the way we failed you and let you leave here feeling disappointed. I'm here to make things right. James was at a loss for words, unsure how to respond. Musk continued, his voice calm yet resolute. First, we're going to open a free account for you with no minimum balance required. This isn't a favor. It's what you deserve. Sophia smiled gently as she began typing on her computer to process the account. Hot, James sat quietly, a sense of relief washing over him for the first time in days. But that's not all, Musk added, his tone deep with purpose. I want you to know this bank is going to change so that no one else has to go through what you did. We've just launched a program called Veterans New Beginnings, designed to help veterans facing financial challenges. You'll be the very first person to benefit from it. James was overwhelmed, shaking his head as if to process the enormity of what he was hearing. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Truly thank you. Musk nodded and placed a reassuring hand on James's shoulder. You don't need to thank me. This country owes you that gratitude. I'm just trying to repay a small part of it. As James left the bank, he carried more than just a new account. He carried a renewed sense of trust and hope. Elon Musk stood in the doorway, watching James walk away, his eyes filled with quiet reflection. Shortly after, a press conference was held where Musk unveiled a series of community-driven initiatives. Veteran support: veterans would receive free accounts and access to tailored financial assistance programs. Mobile banking units, vans equipped with banking services, would be deployed to underserved areas, reaching the homeless and low-income communities. Financial education: free courses on money management would be offered to the public, especially to working-class individuals seeking stability and growth. Musk ended his speech with a statement that struck deep chord with everyone in attendance. Bank isn't just a place to store money. It should be a place that holds hope and restores people's faith in a better future. And today, we begin building that future. Sophia stood in the audience, her face glowing with pride as she watched Musk on the stage. She knew she had played a part in not just helping one veteran, but in sparking a wave of meaningful change. This story didn't stop at a single bank branch. It resonated throughout the entire system, with people like Sophia and Elon Musk leading the way. The world was slowly becoming a kinda better place, one step at a time. As James stepped out of the bank that day, his eyes carried not just a rekindled sense of trust, but a newfound hope that life could change, and that even the smallest act of kindness could spark a profound difference inside. Sophia stood watching his figure fade into the distance, her heart swelling with emotion. Musk turned to her, a warm smile spreading across his face. You didn't just help him, Sophia. You helped us see that this bank's true value isn't in profits. It's in the people we serve. Sophia bowed her head slightly, her voice quiet but firm. I just did what I thought was right. But thank you for believing in me. Musk turned his gaze to the rest of the staff, his expression brimming with determination. We did the right thing today, he said, his voice carrying through the room. But this is only the beginning. One bank can't change the world, but our actions can inspire others to make it better. And I believe each of us has the power to do just that. Musk then faced the cameras, where a group of media personnel was filming the announcement, speaking to everyone watching. His tone grew earnest and heartfelt. This world needs more people like Sophia, people who dare to do the right thing even when it isn't easy. If you've ever witnessed injustice, if you believe kindness can change the world, I encourage you to start with small actions. Together, we can create changes far greater than we imagine. Have you ever helped a stranger? Share your story in the comments below. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like and share to spread the goodness far and wide. Sophia glanced at Musk, her face lighting up with a radiant smile. She felt deeply that she was part of a movement far greater than herself, wave of change that was just beginning. Above the bank's building, a new sign gleamed brightly in the sunlight. United Hope Bank, for the future, for community.